Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is episode 160 of Bloody Thumbs Podcast. I am Splinter 47, and always joining me alongside is Mr. C.H. Golrog. How are you doing, sir?
Hey, howdy, hello. I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm well. We just had a little pre-game warm-up while I was getting everything ready. That's what happens when you get everything going last minute, and I'm just like scrambling to get everything up and running just for the show, the sound as polished as can be. And you know, we're happy to be here. I was playing a little bit of Bloodborne before we got on here, and then I noticed there was like 10 minutes left. Oh shit, I gotta get everything going. And that's how I ended up getting here late and starting to show up. But other than that, I've been quite well since we've last spoke on the last episode. So how about yourself?
I'm doing good. I really have been trying to, with this kind of drought of video games, I've been trying to plow through a lot of my backlog and figuring out things to do. I'm trying to get myself into better shape. I'm doing a lot more writing, which I'm very happy about, that I can contribute to Bloody Thumbs as well as the Better Gaming Bureau. And so I'm really, really happy about where everything's going right now, and I know we had a renewed dedication to figuring out what we're going to do with the podcast and redouble our efforts. And I'm rearing and ready to go. I've got a Let's Play that's on my YouTube page at CH Gorog, and I'm planning on doing an analysis video of Splinter Cell Blacklist and why there's just a brilliant moment in there. There's a lot of brilliant things in there, but there's just one that's just like, brilliant.
I'm excited to check that out. That's really good. I mean, we've been, you and I have been talking about, getting everything kind of jump-started again with the podcast. We haven't been as kind of out there as we once were, just due to the nature of us kind of having lives and not really having enough time to kind of be active.
With women actually liking you, you sell out.
Oh yeah, me and women, and then eating sushi and trying to squeeze in games and reading comics and getting tattoos. Oh, what the life! What a life!
Dude, your tattoo is redonkulous. That is just the Bayonetta tattoo. I would like to get one of those, but I know I wouldn't consistently maintain the same body shape because I either become a large load of just lard jiggling around, so my tattoo would probably get stretched out, and then lose about... I do this weird thing where I lose a lot of weight, and I don't know why. Like, I try exercising and diets. That usually doesn't work. It just, happens whenever I don't want to lose weight. So then I fluctuate, and it's never whenever I want it to. So I usually don't end up with the same kind of body type. So I know my tattoos will look kind of funky. But you've got a consistent basis. Mine would probably have to be like Little Mario from Super Mario World. And then when I get fat, it looks like he's become Big Mario after a mushroom. That's the only tattoo I think I could probably get.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I mean, I haven't had both these tattoos, the Bayonetta one and the Batman one. I haven't had them for long enough to see kind of where they go. I've always been curious on how they're going to end up looking when I'm 50 years old. I was actually seeing, there was actually a post somewhere I saw on Facebook. There was pictures of some elderly folks with tattoos, and most of them have aged pretty well from what I've seen. Yeah. So I guess it's just a matter of, staying fit. I don't know how it will look if I ever decide to buff up, which will probably never happen because I'm too, not as disciplined to really get into kind of bodybuilding or doing weights. Just once I do it for one day, I'm like, shit, I gotta rest, and then a week later, I'm still I gotta rest. My arms are still sore, and then I never get back to it.
Yeah, it takes a dedication that I really applaud anybody who actually has the discipline to do. For myself, I find every reason I can not to go to the gym. It's it's too far away. Oh, I don't want to waste gas. Oh, this, that, and the other thing. But at the end of the day, it's nah, I should. And the thing is, I don't even need to go to the gym to work out. I could run around here. I could do push-ups, sit-ups, and I'm just thinking, Probably eating a donut would probably burn the same amount of calories, I think. Probably. Yeah. Yeah, that's about right.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a matter of, being consistent with it. If as long as you're doing it and making it a habit, you'll be good. That's kind of how I've kind of gone about things for the longest time, and then I just kind of stopped doing it, and then got kind of lazy, and I like laying around better in bed than sweating, especially now that it's getting warmer here in Vegas. So that even puts me even in the tougher spot to stay consistent. But I'm working on it. I've actually been walking more, and I like it's really nice because I just noticed this. I'm sure people out there that are used to walking are probably already jaded by it, but I really enjoyed the walks I've had, and then just getting that nice fresh air breeze in your face and getting dirt in your eyes. That's what it's all about, folks.
I'm restarting on Dark Souls. I quit several times just because I could not get past it, and now I'm starting to just push on through and get into the real meat of Dark Souls. And I'm really starting to get a hang of it. I'm putting the right attunement slots. I know what the Estus, a lot of the stuff I had to figure out on my own.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of strategy, a lot of figuring out what's good, what doesn't work, realizing that, oh my God, I know nothing. I am Jon Snow in this situation, for I know nothing. And just getting my butt handed to me on the top of the church with the two gargoyles, or whatever they're called, and just, and realizing, I don't need to kill every single enemy here just because there are some enemies I cannot kill.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to wait. And you've gotten to Bloodborne.
I've gotten to Bloodborne. I can't say much because I've only played a little bit of it, but so far it's been kicking my ass. Much like with Dark Souls. I mean, the first one it whooped my ass a lot. You just got to put some time into it and figure out kind of your bearings and getting the controls down, and some of the kind of character animations when they strike. It's the thing that Dark Souls kind of instills upon you. It tells you kind of to be patient and not spam a lot the attack. So you got to be very strategic in terms of when you're striking. That's kind of been how everything's been going with me. Not very well so far. I've gotten to one boss and he just whooped my ass in 2 seconds. And that's a tough thing because you got to go way back and kind of get back from that point. But I think I'm at the point where I've died so many times I may have to start having to grind. So that's the thing, because I lost most of my souls. But they don't call them souls in Bloodborne. I call them blood echoes. But they're pretty much the same. It's just kind of the way they word it.
Is it still in the same universe, or is it like Demon Souls where they wanted to change the name of it for copyright reasons and just made something new?
From what I've gathered, it's kind of a spiritual successor to Dark Souls. The gameplay is really very similar to Dark Souls. They kind of change things up in terms of naming things and naming conventions. So a lot of the things you're kind of similar right now with Dark Souls is this kind of still in Bloodborne, just for a bit more better graphics, and the frame rate seems pretty good. It doesn't really drop as much as the first one did. I know there's a part where you go into the black gulch and just it drops so bad in there, and it's dark, you can't see anything.
I've got the similar situations of whenever I do that automatic execution kill for some of the Hallow soldiers, where you sneak up behind them and then you do a sword stab through their gut. It slows down to essentially 1 picture frame per minute of just here's you inserting the knife through his stomach. Here's you falling off the cliff because you didn't see where the other 59 frames went during this minute.
Yeah, that's one of the things that happened there. What happened? Oh
no, sorry, I accidentally clicked on the wrong thing.
Damn it. Okay.
We're good.
Yeah, if you guys can let me know that if you can hear me, because I think because of that drop off, I may have still be silent. I don't know. If anybody there can let me know if you can hear me. You can hear me. There you go.
Big Red NY, thank you. And good to see you again, man.
I know we gotta get together on whenever something we all play comes out. We gotta get together for the epic co-review. I know the last one we did was back when GTA 5 came out, and it's been 1 year later, and then we got the GTA 5 heist, which CH refuses to play. Maybe because
1 whole freaking year. I will not put up with that.
Yeah, he's the no nonsense about that after much delay on that. But I mean, I can't say that I'm that upset about it because you got in quite the package. I know that they've announced it, to be with it, but you got quite the game for the price you paid. But
yeah, there's a lot in there.
And also, so there's some issues with like the servers, so it's the same as it was at launch. So I'm gonna give it a couple of weeks till I get back on there. I'm gonna have to either get a code for like a temporary restoration of my Xbox Gold just to get on there and try it on the 360 again. If you're down for that, we can do that.
Yeah, we could do that. I'd love to do that. I would be more than willing to break the seal on that. If we could have either a Let's Play or maybe even just getting some of the BGB guys together and us having a roundtable discussion on the heists and see how they stack up.
Absolutely, that would be interesting to get that going together and getting all that coordinated. Much more content to provide for the BGB.com. So,
oh yes, indeed,
many opportunities, many content.
Our lovely benefactors, brothers in arms, and just oh so wonderful gentlemen over at the BGB.
So let
me
know.
Check it out, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, let me know, Deep Boys. How's Bloodborne been treating you? I haven't actually had the chance to check out his stream because I think he's been streaming some of Bloodborne. He had his account taken down temporarily on Twitch for streaming it. I think a few days earlier. So I think you're doing okay now from what I've seen from my Twitch notifications. He's back on streaming it again. You've probably gotten a lot farther than I have. I've not gotten past the first boss, and I've just kind of been like a tourist. Like, where the hell am I going? Where to go? It's the same thing as when you played it the first time. And once you kind of know, because you've been through those same parts so many times because you died, you kind of know it like the back of your hand. That's kind of how.
Is it kind of like BDSM, where you are just abused so much that you start to enjoy it, and then everything else just seems really tame in comparison, and you're just like, yeah, this doesn't excite me anymore. And like, the more you do it, like, now I need this to get to like normal, not even just like high, just like normal.
Honestly, that's kind of how I've had that feeling. Playing some games recently that I feel that weren't as challenging as that, but at the same time, I'm also in the frame of mind, like I don't know if I want to go through the frustration of having to die, repeat. I'm just doing the same thing, expecting different results. That is the definition of insanity. God damn it! That's what Dark Souls do to you. But you come out a different man, a different changed man by the end of the game. I remember beating Dark Souls 2. It was like, yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna play this again, but I had a good time. I beat it. So it's kind of that overall satisfaction you get when you beat it, and you kind of have that on your badge that you beat this game.
There is, I think it is maybe one of those things. If you really consider yourself a connoisseur of video games, you need to delve into Dark Souls, even just for a little while, to appreciate the minutia of how much it wants to absolutely destroy your very soul. That it just listen, this is not, you're not going to be able to modify anything. The game is what it is. You have to step up to the challenge, or else you're not going to get this. And for winning, congratulations. You do it over again.
With New Game Plus, and New Game Plus Plus, and then it goes on and on. I don't know how many New Game Pluses there are for Dark Souls, but there's a lot. I've seen a lot of people play up to 7. So,
I can't do one.
Yeah, I can. I mean, we'll see. Because I haven't had a lot of time to get get through it. So I may end up getting further than where I'm kind of at right now. I'm a little bit taken aback and a little frustrated right now. I'm still gonna go back to it because I'm that much of a masochist. That's how I was with the first and second Dark Souls, and this is how I'm gonna be with this. So this is gonna hold me over for a little bit. Once MKX comes out, I'm gonna play some of that.
Ooh, yeah.
And hopefully by June, Arkham Knight doesn't get delayed again. That's a story for another day.
They must have put in the nude codes I was talking about previous episode.
Yeah, maybe it. That Catwoman nude codes you suggested. They heard this podcast. Were like, shit. Get back. scrap all the discs we got printed out.
If it's Anne Hathaway nude codes for Catwoman, then please give them all the time that they need. This needs to happen. So just don't pressure them, okay? Just give them time. So
yes, wish me luck, much luck, folks, on Bloodborne. I'll keep you updated. I did also download the Game of Thrones. I have not played it yet. I may do that after this. I'm curious to see what's going on. Have you had the opportunity to play the third episode?
I did, and I will not spoil it for you. Okay. It is, I would say, more engaging than the first two episodes. The first two set up a lot of the family relations, a lot of the backstory, a lot of kind of the political ties going on. This is where it finally starts to kind of actually kick off and come together. And there's, you have all the different factions, such as all the Rangers on the wall. You have
Ranger.
The Witcher. Look out for the Ranger. And it really is getting into the meat of the choices that are very interesting. It's not as of course it's Game of Thrones, so it's like, okay, do I benefit my family? Do I benefit the kingdom? Do I do what's morally right, or do I do this? This one does it in a much more subtler ways and a lot more layered and nuanced ways than before. And I was honestly beside myself for a lot of the issues. I was thinking, wow, I don't know. Fortunately there was a pause button so I could think it on over. But they definitely get your goat in terms of what decision you're going to take.
Yeah, I've had that before, especially with Mass Effect. I remember having to do a couple of pauses, getting up, going outside, having a smoke.
Just like that one patron in the bar, just like at 3:00 in the afternoon, just like smoking a cigarette, having a beer. It's like, I don't know. Running your fingers through your hair, it's like, I can't go back there.
I know, I'm just outside smoking and time passing by quickly, and the next thing you know, I'm already growing a beard, just going through the Daily Premonition time, fast forward of time, where you can pretty much grab a smoke in the game, and then it'll fast forward time, and then you start to see York's beard grow, and actually on the side note. On the side note, The Witcher's implementing that as well, like the real time beard growth. I mean, this is
next gen.
This is the next gen idea by Swery65. He's already spreading.
It's Swery. He's after D4. Every company in video gamedom needs to just give him money. Give him money. Do whatever the hell he wants, and just be like David Lynch too. Just you don't even need to care about him. Just come back every once in a while just to see what he's doing, and then go back. Are you still crazy? Yep. Okay. Well, we'll talk to you later.
Exactly. So.
And then funny you should say the whole smoking and then beard growing thing, which reminded me of Metal Gear Solid Ground Zero. Not Ground Zero. Well, Ground Zero's but more importantly, Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain, and how that's very similar, where you can light up a cigar. That some theorists have said, it's actually marijuana. And time passes by, and you wait until the clock settles. But that led me to another thought, which was Kojima and Konami. And the big hubbub around there. So looks like this is going to be the last Metal Gear Solid game that Kojima's a part of.
Is it official this time? Is this You think
Yeah.
is this not a ruse from Kojima after like
It's
five?
it's not Ross and Rachel. They're not on a break.
Ah, damn it! It's not like a sitcom where they
Will they? Won't they?
they will they won't they? Yeah.
Well, it's okay. So imagine, well, one is Kojima, one character is Kojima, and one character is Konami. The Kojima character would come up forward and say, like, "Listen, I really appreciate what we've made together, and I really want, but I really want to grow as a person, and sometimes I need to leave." And then the Konami character just shits in its hand and like smears it all over the wall, and that's the entire sitcom.
Yeah,
because yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, what's been going on? I haven't really read up too much on it, but there's been a lot going around about Kojima leaving Konami, and all the whole thing about Konami taking his name off the game, even going as far as that.
Yeah,
a lot of things.
A Kojima production. It's
leading to a very, very unfortunate departure here.
Yeah.
And has it been official or officially announced about Silent Hills? Because I know he was involved in that, so it's gonna be really disappointed if they end up canceling that game. Because I really would have been interested in seeing what could have been, what was to come out of it.
Think how Guillermo del Toro feels.
Like,
that guy can't get anything off the ground. It was like he tried to get his he's been trying for years in Hollywood to get more films made. But because essentially Pan's Labyrinth is only loved by critics or people who really like films, and then like the Hellboy films didn't do that well, and the At the Mountains of Madness film just could never get financed, even though Tom Cruise was like 10,000% behind. It's like, let's do this. He's been trying so hard to find success, which is why I'm so glad that the Strain TV show as well as Pacific Rim are financially successful. But he just can't get anything off the ground besides that. And then you have he had another video game that he was trying to get made, and then that got shelved, and he was trying to shop that around other places. And now Silent Hills with Norman Reedus and Hideo Kojima, and it's like the three guys. Like, it's such a weird combination, and it would just be an absolute tragedy if it never saw the light of day.
It would. I mean, because they're two of the most eccentric minds in their mediums. Seeing them kind of collaborate on this together with Guillermo doing kind of the monster designs. He's been been really good with kind of designing different kind of creatures. So that would be befitting of him to be a part of it, and Kojima kind of being out there, and it would be also interesting seeing what he would do with kind of a property like that, and it just also kind of branch away from Metal Gear Solid series, which is kind of what he's been doing throughout most of his career. So it'd be interesting to see what else he can do. I know he's done other games like I know he did Snatcher, which I played a little bit of it. I kind of enjoyed what that game was. It was like a point and click adventure game on like the I'm trying to remember what system it was. I think it may have been like on the Sega 64, something like that.
Yeah, I've never played Snatcher. The only times I've ever seen it were tribute videos to Kojima recently because of the departure. There was also that Boktai game where you had to go out into the actual sun and play into the sun to give yourself more power. And then
what?
He also tried to do the Castlevania Lords of Shadow and it just. I mean, he's been trying to leave Metal Gear Solid for probably well over a decade, because he tried to leave after Metal Gear Solid 2, and then death threats, and then Metal Gear Solid 3, death threats, Metal Gear Solid 4, death threats, Peace Walker, and he just like keeps coming back, and he keeps doing it well, and people love it, but he really has been trying to leave ever since really Metal Gear Solid 2. Yeah,
he's also been kind of writing himself into a corner with some of those games, and also kind of having to expanding upon it. It's not like he has to, but he's kind of been one of those guys that is very kind of a perfectionist to try to tries to make the game as best he can, and he always kind of looks back on his work with always critiquing it. I mean, it's like a writer, you never really you never really complete until like because you're always rewriting things, and so you're always critical on what you write in the end, even though you kind of try to put everything out as close to what you wanted it to be, but it's not always going to be perfect after you finish it. You're always going to end up looking at it again, and
right,
and it's like a never-ending cycle.
And I've never, even the Metal Gear games I don't exactly like I wasn't too hot on Metal Gear Solid 4, but even no matter which game Kojima is a part of which Metal Gear Solid game he's a part of, he always puts 110% behind it. He never half-asses it. He could easily just slap on the name and just make it a tactical third-person, not even a tactical, just like a third-person shooter, and it would probably still sell like crazy. But he still puts all his eccentricities, all of his stylistic marks, all of his storytelling substance, and just in there. And he never ever just says, because I'm in a bad situation, I'm just gonna glide on by. He really sticks to his guns and tries to make it the best thing he can.
Well, with his departure and Konami saying they're going to continue the Metal Gear Solid franchise, we may be getting something slapped together because they need some money.
Oh God, Konami! If there is one institution that needs to go down in flames, I would happily say Konami. They have overtaken EA, Ubisoft, Sega, Capcom, all the other big guys who've done wrong things. These guys are the worst because they're sitting on huge properties and they don't even know what to do with them. Because they really treat video game making as if it was a hobby and not a job. Like you guys realize that you need to just do more than re-release old stuff and wait for the next Metal Gear Solid game, right? you got to do a little bit more than that. And it's just ridiculous. I mean, the Jim Sterling made famous how terrible their PR is. They've made absolutely no attempts at doing anything right. Like, for instance, the the Silent Hill HD collection, which was infamously terrible, even worse than the originals, and just this whole shebang with Kojima leaving in the middle of production. Like, it would be one thing if they had the fight and then Kojima left at the end of the release of Phantom Pain, but this is during the middle of production and it's turbulent. So this is very much in the public eye. So not only do they have the problem of the Phantom Pain, but also they got the problem of Silent Hills. So I guess if I'm in limbo here because on one hand I do like the Metal Gear Solid series, and I've always wanted to give more attempts to Silent Hill. On the other hand, I want to see Konami burn.
Yeah, it's kind of a double-edged sword because they do have a few very well notable franchises that they could definitely revive. Silent Hill for sure, and Frogger, Bomberman.
If I see another release of Frogger, I'm actually just gonna go outside and find a frog to kick. Okay, you gotta do more stuff than just franchises stuff, and not even like new franchise stuff. Just like re-releases of old stuff.
True. I mean, they can definitely make new IPs, but I mean, they definitely got at least Castlevania. I mean, they got that. That's definitely well known. I'm sure people are always clamoring for like a traditional 2D style Castlevania, and it's not like, and I think it will make money if they make a new one. And it's not even going to be. I can't see it being that resource heavy because they don't have to really have to make it full 3D or any kind of game like it was with Lords of Shadow. They can kind of go back to the basics, maybe release it on digital only, and then I think they'll make some extra cash. That's the way to go. I mean, and I know that I know with Sega, or is it Sega with Mega Man? Is it who owns Mega Man? I forgot. Is it Sega?
That would be Capcom.
Capcom. They'd be lacking on some Mega Man games. So they could always capitalize on that.
Yep.
But
there's always that.
There's always that. Or new IPs. Maybe go with that.
Oh, you silly, silly man.
That's a silly
There's no
idea,
way
isn't
in
it?
hell anyone's going to do any new IPs. You either have to be Swery65 or From Software to make new IPs. Or Platinum.
Or Platinum. Oh, man.
Yeah.
I love Platinum.
Yeah. It's... And you know what also is the rumblings of... onto not depressing news, but stranger news. Netflix has been reported to actually be developing a live-action Legend of Zelda series.
That's what I've heard. They've been working on some things, and Netflix has been making moves throughout the last few months. I know, especially with their upcoming Daredevil series with Marvel, and so I think they're going to be doing pretty well with that, having some of the Marvel franchises. I think it's definitely the way to go for sure, especially for some of Marvel's key or maybe not lesser known characters, that they can kind of go on that route rather than make a movie, or you can go through straight to TV, either TV on cable TV or on Netflix. Kind of maybe that'll be a different other way to introduce those characters to maybe potential movies if they do well on Netflix. But yeah, I did hear about Legend of Zelda being a series being made on there. I think I may have heard of something else, but I don't remember what it was. Maybe a Blade Thumbs podcast talk show on there maybe.
If there is a live action Legend of Zelda TV show in Crimea, Russia will definitely get it.
So according to Big Red, that the rumor has been denied by Nintendo of a possible Legend of Zelda show on Netflix. So maybe not. But it would be a cool idea, though.
Gus Van Sant directed Super Metroid. Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
I want to see Elephant, but just made as Super Metroid.
That'd be interesting.
Lars von Trier directs Super Mario Brothers.
Well, speaking of Nintendo, since on the subject, have you heard some rumblings about Nintendo releasing a new console?
Oh yeah, the mobile phone thing. Like, yeah, I don't know if they're trying to make it. I don't know much about it. Is it a new console, or is it like a new program for people to download? Or
from what I read, I haven't gotten too deep into to know, but that there is a console in the works. I think they're also maybe aiming for the mobile platform as well, which I think will be a very interesting move, and I think it'd be very promising as well, because the mobile games market is still very big, and Nintendo is a very well-known company. They got a lot of franchises. That will definitely benefit for being on the mobile platforms for sure. I can name a bunch of them off the top of my head, and I think it'd be on their way to do some good business on the mobile market.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it'd be nice to play some Mario on your phone, but I can actually already do that through emulators.
Totally legal.
Yeah, playing Donkey Kong Country on my phone. It's not as good. It looks good, but it's not as accurate as you like it to be. I don't think that kind of game would be the best thing to play on your phone, because you really require precision.
Oh yeah.
And I actually have been playing a little bit of Donkey Kong Country, because Nintendo's released some of the first 3 Donkey Kong Countries on the store, on the Nintendo store through the Wii U. So you get to play. I'm actually playing the original SNES version of Donkey Kong Country. It brings back a lot of memories. That was like one of the very first few games I played as a young lad, being introduced to the Super Nintendo, which is my first console. I remember that a lot. So far, I'm getting to that point where I got stuck again. I don't even know. It's one of those things you always question yourself. How did I even beat this game, and I can't even beat it now? It's like, this is like Dark Souls hard, and I'm thinking I'm here complaining Dark Souls is hard. I can't even get past the second level, the second world of Donkey Kong Country. It's so damn hard.
That is. Yeah, especially towards the latter end of the game, where you have to deal with those the light levels where all the lights turn off, and like the mines.
Oh man!
And Yeah, those bring back wonderful memories. But hey, at least think about this: you get lovely, lovely music.
Yeah.
Some just absolutely beautiful, especially the underwater theme. That is one of my favorite pieces of music of all time.
Exactly. I mean, that music, I can just, imagine it in my head and playing in my head. It's like, I wouldn't say that the water levels are like, gameplay wise, I don't think that they're like the best levels in the game, but sure, the music is kind of what gets you through. I think it's kind of a more like a transitional phase to get you from like the next level to the other, and kind of relax you a little bit after getting through the latter parts and preparing you. It's like, all right, you got to relax a little bit. You're gonna be throwing you to some harder levels with bees. I hate the god damn
Not the bees. Not the bees.
I always hit them like the tip of my leg. I get hit. It's like, damn it. Damn it.
That hitbox is really sensitive.
It is, and especially when you get to those levels where you're shooting across between barrels, and you have to and they're also moving, so you have to aim in and just time it just right to get inside the barrel, or else you just like get launched out into oblivion, and then you pop a little balloon on the top right. Damn it, I'm out. Well, but it's nice because on the virtual console for the Wii U, you can always like save at any time. So in case you do run out of lives, you can always just restore the last save point to that before kind of restore it. If you get stuck on a level, you can always restore it from the last save you did and keep some of your extra lives you have left. So that's helpful for sure. I haven't had to use it just yet, but let's say it's not a bad feature to have. I mean, that's always the case with emulations. You always have that available to you, so we gotta take advantage of it. Why not? Who's
Absolutely.
looking? Yeah. Not you, not me. Well, I am, but I'm telling you, no one's looking. I won't judge you.
Yeah, I mean, the Rare, those guys knocked it out of the park completely. When back in the day of just perfection of that, the art style, the mood, the environments, the music, and especially the gameplay. Where I don't know about you, but that was kind of that was my jam. I know some people like Diddy Kong's Quest, the second Donkey Kong Country, but I always felt that the first one was more my style.
Yeah, I never played any of the other Donkey Kong games after the first one. I knew once I played the first one, I've had enough. Not really going back after that. So I never actually had the experience of those future releases of Donkey Kong, but still holds up really well, and the music is, as we talked about, fantastic. Mm-hmm. It's always kind of been the case for like the kind of the SNES games. They've always had really good music. It's really hard to forget, especially Yoshi's Island is one of the ones that stands out the most for me. Playing it a bunch of times. So yeah, I got that nostalgia in with some of that Donkey Kong Country.
And I've been wrapping up a few games on my list since last time we talked. A lot of them were on my back burners. DuckTales Remastered, beat that one. Speaking of nostalgia, really, really great game. I suggest people check it out if you want a good side-scroller. Also, I was getting back into I got Scott Pilgrim, the game. That's fun. I haven't beaten that one yet, but it's a pretty decent beat 'em up. And I also got into Ori and the Blind Forest, which is, I love that game. This is it gives me all the feels right in the right places. All the feels.
Is that the new downloadable game?
Yes.
I think I might have seen it on PSN.
It's I don't know if it's I actually am not sure, because I thought it was published by Microsoft Studios, but if it's multi-platform, more the better. This is Ori and the Blind Forest feels very Miyazaki-ish, because it's all about dealing with nature, and it starts out as you're Ori, you're being raised by Naru, who's this kind of big Totoro-esque mother-like character where she takes care of you, and because of the problems that are happening in the forest, you need to save the wilds and the forests and the trees and the what have you. And Al Gore would love this game, and it's a very interesting story about kind of loss and people trying to deal with losing their loved ones, and it's actually a very sweet story as well. I actually teared up. The first 10 minutes of this game are actually kind of reminded me of Up, where the first 10 minutes of it, where it's like you get this really sweet story that kind of has a little bit of a sad ending, but it's this opening for another kind of big sweeping story. So it's definitely got its benefits in terms of emotionality. Emotions.
Oh, that's what Peter Molyneux or no
David Gage.
David Gage. Been watching some of the Jim Sterling Let's Plays of Fahrenheit.
I have not. The remastered one?
Yeah, it's if you call it a remaster, I see no difference. It's pretty much like
yeah.
It's pretty much how you would play it on the HD version. It's kind of the same thing as like with the Hitman HD trilogy. They're pretty much like just PC ports. That's pretty much all they are.
You know what? That's the game we freaking needed to bring back. We didn't need to bring back. We didn't need to bring back Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time and make that remastered. We didn't have to remaster Crimson Skies. No, we needed to remaster Indigo Prophecy or Fahrenheit, just because David Cage doesn't understand that. No, not everybody will love his games.
No, not at all.
And it's weird too, just because like no one was clamoring for this. It
just came out of nowhere, really.
Yeah, it came out of nowhere, and also by his own words, he's stood by his opinion that better definition and characters offer better story. I don't agree with that, but that's his argument. And but he then changes his mind and then re-releases this and doesn't look much better. And it's just like, listen, if you're going to at least do this, do like Secret of Monkey Island or Halo Anniversary, where they actually make it look incredibly different in terms of the graphics. Just because like the original Indigo Prophecy was not exactly the best looking game, even on that generation.
Yeah, I remember. I remember the gameplay and kind of the presentation back then. And even then, it seemed pretty dated and not that well compared to like other games. I've seen like GameCube games look better than that. Compared to like the HD remaster or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
GameCube, like Splinter Cell Chaos Theory looks better than that from the GameCube.
Chaos Theory. Oh my gosh! I mean, that looked 360 level of quality in terms of like, yeah, some of the mouth syncing was a little bit squarish, but a lot of the lighting, the textures, the fact that they made like on the boat level where everything looks like wet and soaked with water, that looks incredible. Because we're always going to bring this conversation back to Splinter Cell Chaos Theory.
Yes, we're going to compare everything.
Damn right. Until they make the next damn Splinter Cell game, we're not going to shut up. And this is it. I mean, that looks great. And then Indigo, the problem with Indigo Prophecy or Fahrenheit, whatever you want to call it, it's not that well written of a game. It's not even like a lot of the Guillermo del Toro criticisms come from the fact with a lot of his English films, the dialogue doesn't sound natural. Some people criticize because really Del Toro's language is Spanish. He's kind of an English speaking director second, and so the flow of dialogue is not the best in terms of kind of back and forth. Like Aaron Sorkin or Quentin Tarantino, they got a good concept of kind of how English is supposed to sound and had the right beats and notes for natural sounding dialogue.
Right.
David Cage ain't even a Del Toro. So, when they talk, it's like exposition. This is my characterization. I'm doing this later. Come join me, because this is definitely not going to affect the story later. That kind of thing.
Yeah, I honestly don't really get. I mean, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but I just don't get how some people that play some of these games, especially with the latest one. I've seen I've seen a good chunk amount of the gameplay and even the dialogue. The dialogue's still not really written that well either. The characters are very what's the word? All the characters seem very stereotypical and just how people talk are just doesn't sound natural either.
I mean, they could use that to great effect.
Yeah,
like with Twin Peaks, all the characters seem to be the dialogue is off, but it's all off so incrementally the same that it creates its own rhythm and universe. With David Cage games, it's like it's the dialogue. It's trying to sound as realistic as possible, but at the same time not even coming close. Whereas, David Lynch's Twin Peaks, it knows it's crazy. So it accepts that as the kind of norm and then moves on.
Well, yeah, it's done on Twin Peaks is all done in kind of on purpose, however you want to interpret it sometimes. Mm-hmm. Oh man, I feel like watching Twin Peaks now.
That's some damn good coffee.
Thank you, Mr. Conviction, for joining the chat, sir.
Hey.
As always, it's good to see you. Hope everybody's doing good. If you guys have any questions or anything you want us to talk about, feel free to type it in the chat. More than welcome to, give our thoughts and opinions on anything you're curious on. Later on the podcast, where we'll be doing as usual we're doing the questions. So I got a few here from Twitter, and then also feel free to send whatever you got in the chat, and we'll go ahead and answer it. So, yeah, David Cage.
Cage.
That's all we got to say on that. I don't know how we got into that discussion actually.
Because we started on
it all kind of
remastering.
Yeah. It goes all for a circle there, and also there's so much games. In reality, some people will say that there's not enough games out right now, but there definitely is. Especially like remasters or even other games you haven't played. Like there's the Grand Fandango. There's Grand Fandango out there.
Oh yeah. I mean, I never. That's like the only thing of Schaefer's I haven't had a chance to play yet. I even got a chance to play in Full Throttle when I was younger, but not Grim Fandango. I always wanted to try it.
Yeah. So, a question from Mr. Conviction. So
Mr. Conviction.
So he came in on around when we were talking about Splinter Cell game. He's a Splinter Cell fan as well. See, if you may not know this, as you could tell from part of his name, he was a big fan of Splinter Cell Conviction. So, if we ever do like if ever another Splinter Cell game comes out, we're definitely gonna bring him on to talk about that game for sure, and overall the series. Honestly, I don't know. I feel like we gotta be doing this. I feel like we should talk about the series in general, like annually for some reason. I'm absolutely love that series, and we could talk about it all day and night.
Big fans of the Coen brothers watch Big Lebowski every year. I don't see why we can't do the same with Splinter Cell.
For sure. He's asking how would you be how would you be interested in a Solid Snake Sam Fisher crossover? That'd be cool.
You know what? I would. I was thinking about this actually, and there was a rumor going around that Kojima was working with Ubisoft Montreal to make some DLC, and some people speculated if it was anything like a Splinter Cell Sam Fisher crossover. And the way I would, if they ever did it, the way I would want it done is there's an episode of Archer where Archer gets memory loss, and he actually thinks he's essentially Archer's universe version of Bob's Burgers. And so if there was where it's like more suited towards the humor and dark tone of Archer rather than of kind of the family happy lighthearted Bob's Burgers version of it. So I kind of like this the same thing where it's like Metal Gear Solid is very exaggerated, it's wonderfully exaggerated. Don't get me wrong, but it's definitely in a universe where it's like a giant Mount Rushmore planted onto a submarine, like shirtless fist fight with clone brothers on top of a mechanical T-Rex. You know, a lot of this stuff just like is crazy. So I would like their version of Solid Snake to be more like Solid Snake. Like Snake is actually just a nickname or, you know, a code name, and then like they actually give the guy like a quote unquote realistic background, like he works with the NSA or you know, he has some story purposes, and kind of the exaggerated stuff is kind of left behind.
Yeah, I mean that'd definitely be the way to go. I mean it would be DLC, so it's not like it's exactly canon. So I don't see why not. That would have been cool, actually.
Undead Nightmare.
To see. Yeah, Undead Nightmare. I mean, that's a perfect example right there. You know, DLC that's not canon. It still kind of follows some of the things that happen in the main campaign with, you know, with some of the characters for sure. But a lot of it is just kind of like what if, kind of like a Halloween special of you know, Red Dead Redemption.
An Elseworld.
Pretty much what it was. Yeah, you know, you can kind of go on another kind of go a different way with that, kind of like with comics have that their own universes and stuff. Like you lose so much track, you know, Ultimate Spider-Man universe.
Oh yeah,
the $29.99.
Yeah, or you could just go right the other way. You could just try to maybe introduce Sam Fisher as a liaison to the government in Metal Gear Solid. Maybe if they did a Phantom Pain, where, you know, he's a representative of the government. You know, Naked Snake is Big Boss just trying to outmaneuver him, and you know, he's a problem. You know, just there's a whole lot of possibilities, just depending on kind of which game you're doing and what kind of crossover you'd like.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
yeah. Something that I was thinking about involved artificial difficulty inhibitors, where you know, somebody was talking about I was listening to a YouTube video, I can't remember who it was, but he was talking about stealth games and how they've kind of become more action games, and he said something to the extent of it doesn't really count if you can turn off HUDs, you can turn off hints and tutorials and other things, and he said that doesn't really count because that's not the true gaming experience. But then I thought, doesn't it still count? Because wouldn't that be kind of like saying the game modifiers of difficulty levels shouldn't count either? Because, you know, if for easier play, you could just say, oh, I want this to be an easier time and not really worry about combat. And then isn't that just the same as, oh, I want the HUD to be a little less cluttered, or they're offering the players more options. Don't you think that is well, you know, in my opinion, anyway, it's you know, it's just the same. They're just offering more options and modifiers for the game, depending on what player is playing them and for what skill level they're at and what kind of experience they want out of the game.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of games, especially the recent ones, they always try to make it as accessible as possible. So they give you a lot of those options, like you said, and a lot of folks are to the thought of kind of having a pure stealth experience, and you're not always really going to get that because a lot of other people are going to be playing that. So I mean, it is really up to you on kind of how you think stealth gaming experience should be. But if you want to go that route and kind of get more challenging in terms of removing all those HUDs, I know with some difficulties, I know with Hitman Absolution, some of those modifiers or things that are provided to you on like a normal difficulty aren't either are limited or completely scrapped on the harder difficulty. I think the one mechanic in Absolution where you can kind of see the trail where the AIs and NPCs are going to be walking towards are completely removed when you play them on the harder difficulty. So that is something there as an option. So you don't necessarily have to play it how you're thinking it's less challenging. So it's just just a matter of preference really at this point, because there's a lot of options out there now. Not like before. You have to kind of stick with like one option, or or none at all. With some older games, or some older stealth games, even the ones that are kind of dated, with the 3 alarms and missions over.
Come on, Fisher, this ain't no video game.
The classic Splinter Cell trope there from the past games, and I remember
even Chaos Theory.
Yeah,
it's not really, and you can't really do a whole lot of action because it's like 3 shots and you're pretty much dead.
Yeah, even then, after they kind of lifted the restrictions of 3 alarms in the game over, you're still kind of encouraged to play it as the stealthiest as you can be, but it's not required. It's just more of how you want to tackle the game.
Yeah.
And also if you're into getting the best rating you can, then that's kind of what you want to strive for. Mm-hmm. And I think across all difficulty levels, you're not really giving anything additional to help you out in any of them, really. Maybe the enemies are a bit more tougher, but that's really all about it.
Mm-hmm.
So it really depends on the preference. So other than that, we got 2 minutes left on this stream.
Mm-hmm.
I have to cut it out, and then we'll go back live again so we can get the hour back to us, since that's all we kind of get for the basic Mixlr account that we got so far. So we're gonna take a quick break, folks. We'll be back in just a few minutes, and then we'll kind of wrap it up, I think, on this episode with anything else that we may have on our minds, or anything you guys want to talk about, and we'll wrap it up with questions as we always do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sounds good.
So we'll be right back.
What were you thinking?
Hello, it is I, Dave, again calling you with an incredible offer in association with Bloody Thumbs Podcast and Audible.com. Audible.com is offering a free 30-day trial along with a free audiobook to give you, yes, the listeners of Bloody Thumbs Podcast, the opportunity to check out this service. With over 100,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. And for those of you playing Diablo 3 the order is now available on audible.com. Go to audibletrial.com/Bloody Thumbs.
Thank you for listening to Bloody Thumbs Podcast. Know your limits. Podcast listeners, don't be like Master Wayne. Unless you want to be rich and have all the fine dames around your arms. And remember, always mind your surroundings. Always keep it $1.50. Like a somebody. We now return you to regularly scheduled programming, as CH Rogue and Splinter 47 answer listener questions.
Alright, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. After that quick break, we return once more. So yeah, we had that little discussion there about the kind of the stealth games, and just kind of the kind of the new features that kind of been added recently with some of the HUDs or maybe additional things to help out.
Slowing down time, mark and execute, the sense.
Yeah, there's a lot of those, and then they're all kind of streaming towards kind of stealth action games. There's very far few between some very pure stealth games. Most of them that are kind of like that are kind of straying towards like the arcade titles, maybe indie titles like Mark of the Ninja. It's the only one I could think of recently that's kind of more stealth based.
I've always thought it would be a funny skit. I have no idea what the content would be if it was just a TV series called Mark, Who is a Ninja, and that was just it. I have no other idea about that. Just Mark, Who is a Ninja, and then that's the entirety of my idea.
All right, fair enough. Actually, I wanted to bring up a little bit of what I've been reading, since I'm still delving into the world of comics. I don't know if you've had anything to read. I know you've talked about. I know on the last one you told me you were buying
Death in the Family.
Yeah, Death
of the Family.
Yes, Death of the Family. I don't know if you read that, but if you
Oh yeah.
If you have, I'm more than welcome. I'm more than happy to talk about it with you. I actually wanted to bring up first. I actually been reading an X-Men comic. I've been getting into some of the Marvel side of things. Continuing
nice.
reading. I'm reading Uncanny X-Force, which came out a few years ago. It's kind of this espionage, it's secret team put together by Wolverine that kind of does like the dirty work that the X-Men won't do, and it pretty much has a couple of characters as Archangel, Psylocke, Deadpool is in the group as kind of like a contract guy, a kind of a freelancer, and Phantomex, which is a kind of a creation by Grant Morrison from one of the comics he worked on for X-Men a few years ago at a new X-Men. So I'm really liking it so far. He's actually kind of delving into the more of the morality of the kind of the superhero actually than I expected it to be. It's kind of talking about, because one of the earlier issues when it starts off, it's kind of like this trying to stop the kind of reincarnation of like Apocalypse through this kid that will more than likely be Apocalypse if he's raised a certain way. They kind of delve into what nature versus nurture and all that stuff, and just really gets down to the nitty gritty of them questioning the things they do and just how they kind of cope with doing a lot of these things that the X-Men wouldn't do, like killing people and stuff for the greater good, for save take one to save millions kind of thing. And I've been really liking how it's been written. Even Deadpool's kind of been written a bit more. He's kind of has a kind of a more human side than you would normally see from him. He still jokes. He's still got his jokes, but he's kind of showing more of his human side. So there was one issue that where he was even kind of he even had his own limits as well. Because you always see him as this kind of very out there, crazy killer assassin, and even him, he's got his limits to what he will end up doing. So it's a really interesting read so far, and the art is really fantastic. Probably one of the best, beautifully drawn and beautifully colored comics I've read since I started my endeavor in the comics. So I'm really loving this story that is going on so far. It's an omnibus. I'm buying omnibuses. These big hardcovers. So I'm really enjoying it so far. It's really good. I haven't read anything else besides that. So
who's the writer on that?
it's Rick Remender. He's been writing comics for a while. He's had a bunch of other series he's written Punisher. He's written some other comics through I think Image. Image has been one of the most popular publishers out there since they kind of since they first started. They're kind of independent. People thought it wasn't a great idea for like Image. It was composed like Jim Lee and some other artists that put together this company. So right now they've been at it for a couple of years. So they're one of the most popular publishers out there for like kind of independent comic book artists. So like if you can't get through like Marvel or DC, or you're not really it's kind of like how would I put it? If this guy it's pretty much like an independent place to go for more like freedom to do what you want, and is Image. So that's the way to go. So far so good.
Image does Kick-Ass, right?
Yeah, Kick-Ass, and I think some of them,
and The Walking Dead,
Matthew Vaughn stuff, right?
Yeah, I do like that, how they both the Marvel and DC kind of have their subsection for the artists who want to kick around new ideas, do something a little bit darker than the big guys will let them, but we'll let them experiment, which is what Vertigo was. Do they still do kind of? Does Vertigo still exist, or is it just all absorbed into DC now?
I don't know. I think Vertigo's still around, because I ended up getting. I know it's a part of DC, but I do have like Doom Patrol Omnibus, and that's from Vertigo. So I believe there's still Vertigo's still around. I'm not 100% sure.
Gotcha.
But yeah, let me know if anyone knows. So that's pretty much what I've been reading. I know if anyone's been reading any comics, definitely have some recommendations. I'm all down for that. What did you've already read Death of the Family? You read it from
Yeah.
Beginning to end. Oh, I gotta get your thoughts on this one.
I was genuinely surprised. I didn't expect to really like it as much as I did, and it still wowed me. I was kind of spoiled on the big moment where they're at the dinner table and kind of what they reveal at first. Like, oh, okay, I kind of know what's happening, but I didn't really understand what was the context of everything.
Right.
And reading up on that and reading up on just the whole setup and how it kind of slowly comes to a close and what the story is about. Just about the idea of family, love, and kind of perseverance. That really got me, especially with a character like the character dynamic between Batman and the Joker, which they've actually really changed around this time. And just making it sort of Batman's, you question whose obsession really is it? Is it the Joker's? Is it Batman's? Is it like any other cast member? And you just start to wonder, are both these guys crazy? Are they like, do either of them even have a clue about what they're doing? And it gets to a point where the ending with the family and what the Joker plans and the big trap and the setup, and not to mention like the whole brigade of like bringing out all the villains of like what they all represent to the king, right. But the family as well. It seemed very not only metaphorical but very archetypal of kind of realizing what everyone means to Batman and kind of his whole institution. I found that to be really, really enjoyable and a really interesting exploration that they've never gone through before. Especially with the Joker not really setting himself up as like the grand baddie, but actually just allowing for these things to happen in Batman's world. Yeah,
I really like the whole setup and storytelling of that. There's a very multi-layered read for sure. I mean, I've read it a couple times and kind of gotten a lot of different results and interpretations out of it. Especially you're mentioning him finding some of the roads back gathering, what they represent. It almost seemed like it was a little bit of I may have to read it again. I may be a bit far off on this one. It was kind of like the the Dante's Inferno. He's getting up those stairs and finding those villains. It was a cool moment, but it kind of also
biblical.
It also kind of made some of the villains look so weak. Like Batman was like really pissed off. I was like, get out of my way, and just like took everybody out. It's like in quick succession. Like Mr. Freeze, and then like
Killer Croc. He's like kicks Mr. Freeze in the stomach. Like, get the hell out of my way, and then just like moves on to the other room.
That was cool. And then getting to see, I don't know how much we can get into it, but there, for those who haven't read it, I think it's definitely, even if you know a little bit of like what happens in it, it's still really worth reading from beginning to end. Especially like, the lead up to Joker kidnapping most of the Bat family. Alfred, pretty much everyone that's been affiliated with Batman in a very close way. Batgirl, Nightwing,
the Robins, Red Hood,
his son Damian, everybody there. All and then just seeing what you're thinking has occurred, and then finding out it hasn't. It was like a big. That was a big tension scene right there. Joker had him, Batman strapped into a chair, and then everything is just set up there to be the high tension read that I've ever experienced in a while. And
especially with the morality of Batman not killing, and it feels like it's been explained before and explored, but never like this, of just like why maybe there's like an actual psychological reason why he needs to keep them alive, rather than just like, oh, it's my morality, and if I kill one, I'll become them. And then Joker pretty much calls him out. It's like, no, you won't. Like, if you kill me, that's pretty much the end of it. Like, you're not going to do that for anybody else. And just getting into that, and the whole fact that Joker goes just full tilt. Like, I was kind of half expecting him to be dead by the end of this story, in terms of like, he's either going to have a heart attack of trying too hard, or Batman's going to just like beat the crap out of him, or he's going to commit suicide, or neither, or both, or who knows.
Yeah, they kind of had like this different, oddly relationship with each other. Like they're kind of like a boyfriend girlfriend relationship in a way.
Mm-hmm.
The way that the Joker talks to him. I've actually heard that there was some dialogue in the trade paperback that was edited, because in the original issues it was his dialogue was slightly different, like calling Batman darling. It was just I don't know why
Dark Knight Returns sort of stuff.
Yeah, I don't know why they edited it, but it was like but it was
because it's DC. They squandered that opportunity pretty darn well.
I don't know, but DC pretty much it wasn't really eliciting anything that a Joker may be like gay or anything, but it was more like a just
it was
more
uncomfortable.
It was like it was supposed to be kind of meant to be to make him rattle him and make him uncomfortable, and it just shows that it just shows how well they know each other, and just kind of how intricately and multi-layered of a weird relationship they have with each other.
That to me just rings of I don't even know what, because it's like, okay, you don't mind that the Joker kills countless scores of people, manipulates people into doing some of the worst stuff imaginable, but the fact that he calls him darling, that's a bit much.
I know, right? Especially that infamous scene. I'll never forget it. The first time I read Dark Knight Returns, when he goes into that tunnel of love and started shooting up everybody in there, it's like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and that was like that was more disturbing, because the fact that it wasn't like this big grand scheme of like a big trap of like he knocks down a domino. It's like, oh, you've got 10 minutes to save this person or save this person. It was just like a random gunman, like without any option, just going into the tunnel of love and just taking out whoever he could, just because like that's the last thing he's gonna do.
It was just very nonchalantly. That's what was the most disturbing thing about it. It was like wasn't even planned. It just did it. Yeah, I mean there's that, and then also especially how it ended, the implications of kind of how it left everyone in the Bat family after it ended. It really, even if they weren't hurt physically, I think they all went through something mentally, and that's that was Joker's intent. It was all like kind of like psychological warfare this time, rather than just killing, because killing is easy, but getting through people's heads is even more. It can really get to you. It can really get you more than just physically harming them. So I wouldn't even be able to sleep after that experience.
And some of the team members don't. And I love just how a lot of them are just like, oh, I'm busy. And at first you think, like, oh, okay, well, they might have something. And then the next one's like, oh, I can't do anything. And, like, they're at home reading a book. It's like, okay. What's the next one? It's like, yeah, I can't come. And, it's like, I'm really, really busy tonight. Just, like, eating a salad. It's like, they're obviously, like, trying to avoid him as much as possible, to the point where Batman, talks to Dick Grayson. He's like, yeah, I know you're quote-unquote busy. Whatever. I understand.
Yeah. It is something. You definitely, I mean, there's definitely more to it. Especially, there's still an ongoing story going on. I think the end game story arc is what's going on right now. Is like the issues that have been coming out for the last few months, where it's like 5 parts. The last part hasn't released yet, but I've had all 4 parts, and that's kind of more of the continuation of kind of like the successor of Death of the Family. Is kind of continuing on what happened after that, and Joker comes back, because I think he was gone again after the events of that Death of the Family, and then he came back again.
Oh God! And I cannot believe they got away with having his him. Okay, we've already gotten to some spoilers of the story, but like the basic premises for the Joker is that he's cut off his own face, and then uses like the wrapping tape, metal hooks, and like bonding straps, like leather straps to secure it on his face. And as the more the story goes on, the more corroded and just like the flesh is dying, and so the more disgusting and putrid and corpseified it looks. And I'm like, oh my God, how the hell Like, who's the madman that like suggested this?
Yeah, it's insane seeing that progression of his face. That's just how disturbing he is in this one. He's a lot more darker. But I'm really glad you got to read it. It was really, I remember reading that the first time. That was one of the first Batman comics I started to read from the New 52 that they've been putting out. So that one stood out to me the most. I'm really liking everything that's going on so far with Scott Snyder, who's writing Batman right now, who wrote that. He's really good. He's really hot writer right now, and him and the art is great. The art is fantastic.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So they're still going on and writing Batman right now, and him and Greg Capullo that did the art for Death of Family and pretty much all the issues for the current Batman right now are still working on.
I might have to go pick those up.
Yeah, for sure. I'm waiting for once this story arc ends with Joker, they're going to be doing something new after that. They're doing this weird, I don't even know how to explain it, this convergence thing DC is doing. I guess relaunching things again. I don't know.
New 52 is coming to an end.
Pretty much, actually. That's pretty much what's going on.
Ultimate Marvel's coming to an end too. So apparently they're doing the same thing. They're bringing on over Ultimate Marvel into, I think, 616 Main Street universe.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to see what comes of that after this story arc's over. I'm really excited to pick up like the trade paperbacks of the story that's going on right now. Since I already have the issues, I'm more excited to get like the trade paperbacks. You should actually read the Court of Owls as well. That one's really good.
I heard that was a good one.
Yeah, right. Written by Scott Snyder as well. So it's really good. It introduces new Batman character, and then it kind of delves into the more of it delves into more like Gotham City as like almost like a person, in Batman's world, and it delves into kind of more the history of Gotham and how little things that like Batman thinking he knows the city as well as he does, he kind of just gets turned on his head, and a lot of things happen, and things are introduced from the Gotham history that it really didn't know about. So that's a good read for sure as well. That was one of the first starts of the New 52 storyline, so that's definitely worth reading. There's actually a kind of an absolute edition of that whole story arc coming out later this year. The absolute editions for DC are kind of like these big oversized hardcovers. They're like the pages are bigger, the paper quality is a lot better, and it just kind of makes the art stand out the most because they're in a bigger hardcover. It's kind of like a library. It's kind of like the size of a textbook, not thickness, but more like the length. It's kind of like that, like the math textbooks. So,
wow.
I may pick it up.
That sounds like a pretty good buy. It sounds like very heavy, and if you're not reading it and the burglar breaks into your house, you could always use it to knock him out, or maybe just like place it gently on his back, and he wouldn't be able to get up like Loki and Thor, where he's just trapped. Like I can't get enough.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely use that. Honestly, you could use any of these like oversized hardcovers I have. I could probably knock someone out with it. They're pretty heavy, especially the Doom Patrol one. That's like the biggest, thickest one I have. It's like 1,000 pages in this one. I like collecting these kind of things and reading them, but they're not the most comfortable to read sometimes because you can't like lay down on your back and read them because you're gonna end up dropping it on your face. If you're reading,
that's where you get your exercise from.
Yeah, that's how I get my upper body strength. Is holding down that goddamn hardcover. But reading on your bed or on a kind of table is probably the best way to do it for sure. But other than that, that's just more of a preference for me. But if you like reading on your back, you may just want to get the paperbacks for those. I think it'd be okay.
Yeah, it's harder to, for some reason, it is harder to find some space for the hardcover than for soft.
Yeah, I like the aesthetic of them. They look so nice. Like just like putting them on your shelves and just kind of just like showing them off. They're really nice collectibles as well, and they can be worth a lot if you want to sell them. But I just like them, and I'm probably gonna hold off on buying more comics now because now that their games are starting to come out now. So I'm gonna be investing money on those. So I have so many of them. I could just end up rereading them again. So I like rereading some of these and just getting more out of it than I did before. So I may end up doing that. And if there's anything that's like substantial or essential that I would need to read, I would more than likely get back into that again. But right now I have plenty to read right now.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes not a lot of time to read any of them. So I'd be fine right now. But I'm glad you enjoyed the story.
Death of the Family. I wasn't sure if I was going to like it, but darn it, it was a really, really good romp. I'd heartily recommend it to anyone who's listening.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'd actually like to see like maybe like the DC animated movie. It would be pretty cool to see.
Oh, it would be rated X. You realize this?
I know, but if they could make Dark Knight Returns, animated movie, I think they could do that. That'd be cool.
Yeah. That would be really, really cool.
Yeah, I mean that's really where I like watching most of the Batman stuff. Is some of the DC anime movies are really well done for the most part. I always will cherish. I mean, that's always been my go-to movie. I remember growing up watching it all the time. Was the Mask of the Phantasm. I definitely love that. That's definitely a gem. It's definitely one of my favorite Batman movies overall. Whether it be animated or live action, that's one of my favorite ones. Yeah,
apparently it's just gotten high praise all around, and just one of the best Batman movies of all time, as you have said. It's even among the live action stuff.
Yeah, because it was during the time of the animated series, they were hot, so it was a smart idea to make a movie, and it was like limited in some of like the theatrical release, but it was cool that that's the only one that they ever put out in theaters, so it was really that well worth putting out at the time because it was the show was hot back in the 90s.
It struck while the iron was hot, and they apparently made a lot of good hay while the sun was shining.
Exactly. So, so that's the comics talk for now. Yeah. Unless you were reading anything else.
No, I've Death of the Family was really the only one, and I think I'll be focusing a little bit more on video games as now a little bit more seems to be coming out, and I'm finishing off a lot more of my past library of unfinished games. So I will probably get back into comics when I hear of something really, really good. I'll maybe take another gander at a Scott Snyder pack when I get a little bit more time on my hands.
I got you. Understandable. So is there anything else that you want to talk about or had on your mind before we get to the questions for tonight, Clip?
Nope. I'm all good there, and I'd love to head on to the questions.
Not a problem. Let me pull them up right now. If any of you guys in the chat want to ask us anything, I think Big Red, you already asked me something, but if you want to ask something else,
Mr. Conviction asked.
Feel free.
He had asked, do you think it would ever be possible for a theatrical release of an Arrow Flash crossover using the actors who play them on TV? And he also has a second question that we can get to after that.
Sure. I haven't personally seen the Flash or the Arrow, so I can't really say if it would happen, but I've heard, nothing but good things about both of them. So it's always been something that's been discussed. I know I've had discussions about even like Smallville bringing like Tom Welling to be like the Superman in the live action movies, but it never really happened. They never really materialized. I can't say it would be a bad idea for sure. If they need shoes to fill, if they're gonna do the Justice League movie in the future, they could definitely throw them in there while the iron is hot for their both respective shows.
It's not going to happen.
Pretty much.
I've seen both the shows. I like them. I think they are better quality than most shows out there,
And I'm sorry to say it's probably not ever going to happen because it's confusing already because DC has licensed out several different shows to several different channels. Gotham's on Fox. Will that connect to to Batman on in the new DC cinematic universe? What about Flash and Green Arrow? Is the Flash going to be the same one in Justice League? They're going to have a hard time already with the people who aren't familiar with this going into a Justice League movie, wondering why the actor who plays the Flash on the TV show is replaced by Ezra Miller. I'm sorry, I can't remember who that actor is at the moment, but it's just going to further complicate things even more because then you're bringing out the Arrow and the Flash on the TV show to a movie. It's like, okay, is this in the same universe? Is this a different universe? Why is this just why is this a universe thing? Is this an Elseworlds thing? Is this a different spin-off story from the TV series? Or you're going to have, I mean, it's already kind of complicated enough, and bringing out, doing that for the theatrical version, I don't know if that's ever going to happen.
Yeah, you're probably right. It'd be cool to see, but like you said, there's definitely a lot of things to consider and a lot of complications that will arise from that. I think now that I think more about it and ponder over that, I think it'd probably be best just to keep them separate, have them be in their own mediums, and just have it not be confusing to the general audience. I guess that would be the probably best thing to do.
Yeah, as much as, and also, why would you want to go from a TV series to a movie? Since a lot of times you don't have enough time to tell the stories and develop the characters that you want. The budget is bigger, certainly, but with the special effects nowadays on TV and a lot of the talented people out there in Hollywood, it's getting closer now. It's like Game of Thrones is already a significant amount better in terms of writing and with special effects than some fantasy films out there. I would not say I wouldn't even say AAA fantasy stuff. Although, anyway, the special effects are good and the writing's good.
Well, yeah, and the budget is you kind of almost get up there in terms like almost a movie too.
Mm-hmm.
With all the work they put into the show. So I mean, even I think people will prefer the show like that, like Game of Thrones. They prefer it to be a show than a movie because you only get limited time with the movie to convey the story, and with the show you get the show is about an hour long, and you get a nice drawn out story that isn't overcomplicated with squeezing everything in there in less than a 2-hour movie. So I think people are more interested in going through stories like that and condense long out versions through shows. That's the way to go. I mean, people, it wasn't that way before. It just shows you how times have changed, and how back in Hollywood, getting on a TV show is kind of like the end of your career. Yeah,
Rob Lowe or George Clooney, they turned that around.
Yeah, I mean, it's just completely been 180. Doing a TV show is probably the best thing to do because you get more exposure, and then get to show the world your acting chops if the show is good.
Breaking Bad. That show is. Bryan Cranston will be forever known as Walter White just because of that show and just of the artistry that went into that. And same thing with Mad Men. Same thing with Band of Brothers. You have a lot more time to explore the characters. The production design and setup is getting pretty darn close to movies, and a lot of times movies are so rigid now that actors will want to explore, actors, writers, directors, all types of creative people want to explore more options in the TV show variety, especially since you have like Netflix approving shows that our traditional TV channels would never think of, just like House of Cards. Doing the Netflix Marvel agreement with Daredevil, which is actually the second question Mr. Conviction asks, which is how pumped are you guys Daredevil on Netflix? For Daredevil on Netflix.
I'm relatively pretty timidly excited. I mean, I've been reading some Daredevil comics, especially the ones from Frank Miller. I mean, Frank Miller has kind of defined the character of Daredevil during his run, and that's kind of been like the basis of most of the kind of current Daredevil stuff is kind of based off of his. It's amazing, man. How far he's kind of dropped off, Frank Miller. I don't know what happened to that man. Maybe I don't know if he was just he had a few hits and that's it.
I think he might have Alzheimer's,
or he's just kind of gone insane. It's crazy. Yeah. I mean, I've seen some of the art and just crazy writing he's done with like some of this like recent stuff, like Dark Knight Returns 2, and then there's like this recent one, like this kind of retelling of Batman and Robin, this all-star Batman and Robin, which is completely insane. It made Batman look out like a madman in this story. Kidnapping a boy and training him is insane.
He also had one which was like really, really questionable, which was I think it was called Holy Terror, which is essentially all about him hating Middle Easterns. So. Yeah, so it's like one of those things where you start to kind of back away slowly because you're afraid if you run out the door, he'll try to follow you.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's even works on like doing another Dark Knight Returns. He's
no.
I've heard that it's going down or something.
No, you haven't heard. Don't you start this, because if rumor spreads, he's going to hear it and then demand that he's a part of it.
No, actually, I think it is going down. I think I read something. He's actually. I don't know how involved.
See what you've done.
I don't know how involved he is in with that, but it's got. I'm a little, hesitant on seeing. I'll probably check it out anyway because he's gonna be. I don't know if he's gonna be co-writing it, but he's gonna be working on it with Scott Snyder. I mean, he's had a pretty good run with Batman, so there's some hope that it may turn out okay.
If it's like 95% Scott Snyder, 5% Frank Miller, and that 5% is purely on like one page of like rabid, crazy scribblings on the wall, then yeah, let's go with that.
I think he may contribute to maybe like a character like Victor Zsasz on one page, and that'll be it. I think it'd be perfect for that.
That's a perfect fit. I actually don't. You know what? Let's have Victor Zsasz be played by Frank Miller in Justice League: Dawn of Justice, where he just shave his head and then it's like, oh, he didn't even need to be hired. He's already in character.
Right. So how do you feel? How do you feel since I kind of got my 2 cents on the Daredevil?
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I really dig how Marvel is doing things with their movies. I like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I don't overall love it just because I think it has the kind of same problem that a lot of ABC shows have, where it's like no matter if they're written well or directed well or they have a good cast or they're exciting, it always takes kind of a really long time for the overall plot to get going. And I like the Agents of Peggy Carter, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. miniseries. That was really good. I'm interested in seeing what they do with kind of the big superheroes, how they translate superpowers to a TV show, and just what they do with the character. And I'm not particularly knowledgeable about Daredevil outside of kind of what I've heard and the Daredevil 2003 movie with Ben Affleck. So I don't know.
Yeah.
You know?
I can't say that I know too much either, other than like you said from the movie, and then just recently reading the comics. I haven't even gotten to Frank Miller's run on the character because I have the omnibus, but it actually has like the first couple of issues kind of leading up to his run, but it wasn't really written by Frank Miller yet. It's written by somebody else. But I'm liking what I've read so far, so I'm curious to see what Frank Miller's take is on the character once I get to that part where his run begins. So I'll let you know. But other than that, I'm digging it so far. he's got an interesting backstory, and just the pure fact, because you don't see it anywhere else. You know, a blind superhero. So I go with that.
I did I did like the line in the movie where Ben Ulrich is talking with Matt Murdock, just like, ooh, that's a cool color. And Matt just goes, I wouldn't know. But yeah, it's looking forward to Daredevil. Hope it's good.
Okay, so we'll transition over to the questions that I got here.
Perfect.
Got a question here from Kat.
Hey, Kat.
Your question is, which video game character would you bring to your bachelor party? Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is a good one. I would bring Francis York Morgan. I think I use this answer for a lot of things, but Francis York Morgan, because he's going to be bringing some coffee and making some interestingly odd observations and giving me some fortunes while he drinks the coffee. I mean, I absolutely adore the character Francis York Morgan from Deadly Premonition, so I'd bring him along. I think he'd be interesting party member for the bachelor party.
For me, I would have to think if it's going to be is it going to be, do I want him as my wingman, or do I want him to steal the light of the party?
That is a good question. I mean, you can interpret this however you wanna take it here. I mean, he can be just, you know, along with the ride for the party, or, you know, it really is up to you how you want to use this video game character for your bachelor party.
Ooh, okay.
It could either be to your benefit or to your detriment, depending on who you pick. You know.
You know, I think I would like to choose Leisure Suit Larry, just because it would be there would be some great stories to tell afterwards. It wouldn't be just like all fun, like, oh, it all goes our way. Like, no, like, actually a lot of problems come our way, and we find creative ways around them. But just it makes for great stories to tell around a campfire.
Yeah, you'd incorporate some like point click adventure type gameplay elements to where, you know, touch this, observe this, you know, Leisure Suit Larry.
Touch boob tassels.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with Leisure Suit Larry. Those games were kind of more geared towards like adult sexual like innuendos.
Adults don't play those games. Horny teenage boys play those games.
I guess that's what it was, huh? It was like I don't remember. I never played it, but it was like, I guess, was it like a video games version like of Porky's or something?
Yeah, it was just a guy trying to get laid and constantly trying to flirt with women and always getting into trouble, not doing it very well, and it's essentially a video game version of Porky's.
There you go. So, the other question here we have from Kat is, what video game has made you cry? Either by the story or finishing the game overall, like your kind of impressions maybe afterwards. I don't know if I've ever. I'm trying to think if I've ever cried. Honestly, I would admit it. I mean, I've cried in some moments in video games. I mean, I always harken back to the part where, I don't know if I'll spoil it, but the part where one of the big pivotal moments in Deadly Premonition with Emily happens and New York's kind of there to witness it. That one kind of tugged at my heartstrings, because I did a lot of the a lot of the side missions for that game, and as I kind of talked about before, the side missions are completely optional. That's why, you know, but you do get a lot out of them in terms of characterization and just the overall scope of things in that town, and just kind of and going through that that whole little side quest with Emily, just, you know, collecting food recipes and then having her make them, and then just York reacting to him and kind of forcing it down his throat, because just pretending like he likes it with her cooking, and then like at the end of the side quest, she actually makes something that York likes. So that was a little cute, fun moment. That would probably be one of them. I didn't cry, but I was kind of insanely. I wasn't insanely sad, but I was pretty sad. It was like almost having like PTSD, like going to war. Like I can't see the world the same again or taste the food the same, but it was like at the end of the original ending, Mass Effect 3. It was like that just left a huge damper on me. Just how rushed it felt, especially that ending. It felt so rushed to me. I mean, they could have done a lot more. That
would make anyone cry.
Yeah, I was very disappointed by it.
Yeah, Mass Effect 3's ending is definitely worthy of crying about.
Right.
Dark Souls, probably. Just cry in a shower, just like crying myself in the fetal position. But games that made me cry. Recently, Ori and the Blind Forest. I actually teared up a little bit at the ending of the beginning segment of the game, where it was a very, very emotional moment, and I don't do that often.
Yeah.
And it's very well done. It's all done with physical pantomimes and just this visual connection of what you learn and kind of the relationship between the characters, and it's touching, and it's I teared up like a little girl when it happened. It was really worth the price of admission alone just for that. And the only ever time, well, I wouldn't say the only, but the only one that really comes to mind right now was the end of BioShock 2, where I got the good ending, the one where, so spoiler alert if you don't want to hear the ending of BioShock, or one of the endings of BioShock 2, where you save all the little sisters. You've played BioShock 2, right, correct?
I have not. I never got to it.
Oh, shoot. Okay. Well, anyway, I got an ending that actually, it was at the very end. It was a very mature, emotional moment. The music was at the right place. The characters' progression, everything was there. And then it was the ending, and I realized that this was probably going to be the last time I was going to see Rapture. And it's like, wow. I don't mean in terms of like, oh, I can't replay it. Just that's like, oh, I'm done with this game. Better burn it. Can't experience it ever again.
Yeah, you finished it. It's gonna blow up in 50 seconds.
So that's how they video game companies get us to rebuy their merchandise.
Yeah.
And but it was like it's pretty much the ill red ring on you.
Right.
And it was just this very, very surreal moment where it was just like I was just looking at this, and BioShock Infinite was coming out, or being announced to be worked on, and it just felt like something was. No, I'm sorry. That it was a different way, because BioShock 2 came out and BioShock Infinite was still in development, but it wasn't announced yet.
Right.
And then when I was replaying it, I got this kind of swell of emotion. Like, this was the last time I was ever going to see Rapture as this actual, like, the linear way of, like, actually participating in a story. That's the last time I was ever going to participate it, with that and Minerva's Den. Especially Minerva's Den, where it's, like, essentially just, like, they're turning off all the lights before they leave.
Yeah. Like, yeah, that was a really good one. I mean, actually, going back again, the Splinter Cell, I kind of teared up a little bit at the end of Splinter Cell Conviction,
Yeah.
where everything's kind of wrapped up and everything's tied up with all the loose ends, and once Sam's has the discovery that Sarah was still alive, after believing she was dead, it was a very touching moment when they were reunited again. And then after he wrapped things up at the end of the game, it seemed like the perfect outing for Sam, especially him being around so long and in the game's context of his age, even a little bit older.
Mm-hmm.
It was really I thought that was going to be the last time we would see him.
Because he's got everything ripped from him.
Right.
Like he like his family life was absolutely crap because of his military stuff. Like his country turned its back on him and burned him, and it's just it was just a really fitting end.
It was, but and they made Blacklist. They made him 20 years younger.
and they're like, "You're getting your ass back into the field." No.
But yeah, that was probably up there for sure that I could think of. So yeah, very very good questions there. I just
And Red Dead Redemption.
Oh yeah,
The ending.
yeah. That'll always stick with me. That would always get me thinking about it, and it's that's for sure. I mean, one of my favorite Rockstar games they put out, and it still holds up. It still really looks great. If you play it now,
They don't need to remaster that at all.
No. I mean, it was perfectly fine the way it came. Say what you will, at some parts of the game when you get to Mexico, I mean, that's what some people say. But overall, like the themes of that game, just the whole overall story, and how well put together the story was, and not have it be like very run of the mill or very predictable. I like how it wasn't that at all. Like you would have thought at one point it could have been any elements of that story could have been done easily bad or not well. Especially like you had this interesting relationship with John Marston and Bonnie McFarlane. Like that could have been written poorly to where they would have gotten together, but they never did. There was some
sexual tension.
There was some tension there, and then and then once like John was on his way with his wife, you saw that feeling like that ain't happening. They ain't getting together. But it was kind of sad to see them go apart because they kind of developed a kind of platonic relationship almost.
Yeah, and then the her ending. If you read one of the newspapers, it's just like, oh, she just got married to one of her farmhands. That's it. Like it's very realistic in terms of
yeah, it plays out really how it more than likely would happen in real life. Not really the glamorous kind of ending,
hero's journey.
Yeah, hero's journey you would expect, especially in a video game.
I love the parts of Red. I know people say like, oh, I don't really like them because they're boring, but I love the parts where it's just spoilers if you play to the end. John just goes home to his family and he's tending to farm work and going out hunting with his son and bonding. And it's like, wow, these are incredibly nice moments. Yeah. I love these, like him scaring the crows off and saving his son from the bear. Like that is really cool stuff. And I thought like, oh, okay, so I guess it's going to be kind of open world, and then at the end you could like visit your family and do like a few cool odd job side quests, and then at the end it's just like, nope, guess what's going to happen. Then when the spoiler, when John is gunned down, I'm like he's full of holes. Like he has got so much daylight coming through him, he might as well be like just a window. And I'm just sitting there like going, no, he's not dead. Like, come on, it's a Rockstar game. They don't just kill their protagonists. How else are you gonna play the open world game? And then just at the end, it's like, oh my god, they actually killed him. Yeah.
Just all well done. I mean, the presentation, music, just everything was all set up so well. Yeah, that was definitely one of the top ones there. Ooh.
Yeah,
just have memories on right now.
Yeah, I think that's still Grand Theft Auto, Rockstar's magnum opus.
Yeah, absolutely.
In terms of, just absolutely fantastic. And I wish them best of luck. I don't even know if I want a sequel, just because that was just, I don't know how they're going to top that.
I don't know if they will be able to, but I would definitely like to play another one. Maybe obviously not with John Marston, but maybe in that world, in the West for sure. I like to play another next gen like Wild West game. I mean, I love Wild West. I love Clint Eastwood movies, so another game like that would be awesome for sure. Set in that world in that time. So On to the next question here from Big Red and Y. His question is, will Nintendo's new system be announced at E3 this year, or will they wait till next year? Now, this has been one of the things that Nintendo's kind of haven't been doing for a while was E3, and E3's kind of lost its momentum, these last couple of years. So, and they have the Nintendo Direct, so more than likely, I would say maybe not. I don't know if this will be this year, but maybe sometime later this year or early next year, they'll probably announce something further and more detailed on their own time and their own presentation, like the Nintendo Direct that they got going on. Usually they always do that, announce new things on there. So that probably what will happen.
Yeah, I don't think they'll. Yeah, I think they'll save a new console, maybe a new handheld thing for sooner. But in terms of a new console, I don't know. I mean, are they asking specifically about a handheld or just a console in general?
Either console or device. We'll go with that.
I think whatever they're announcing, the handheld thing, then whatever they're definitely getting. We'll probably hear more from them at the next Nintendo Direct. But I don't think they're going to announce a new video game console because they still got mileage on the Wii U, and I think they're going to wait for maybe another year to go by before they even start to consider getting a new console because it launched pretty recently.
Yeah. I mean, it hasn't even been that long since the Wii U is launched. I'm sure it's just one of those things they are working on, and they probably will take time with it, and we'll see what happens. I mean, there's still for a lot of other Wii U games that they should be expecting this year. I know there's like a new Yoshi game like this. I like some of the footage I've seen. It's like this kind of yarn aesthetic to it. I like that. And
Kirby's Epic Yarn. Yeah,
it's kind of like that. Like the whole world and character models are designed like out of this like kind of like yarn, pretty much. I like that aesthetic. It's different. It looks like it's going back to like the traditional like platforming like you got in Yoshi's Island. So that makes me excited to play it. And then Xenoblades, and then some Legend of Zelda for sure, and some other games. I mean, I think there's maybe another Monster Hunter coming out for Wii U.
Yeah, it's. I think they really got to figure out. The only thing that I think will either make or break making a new console is figuring out if they can get third-party support for Wii U. Just because they're kind of abandoning it, since it's not exactly getting the sales that they want to for multi-console stuff.
Right. So, very good question, Big Red. Thank you for the question. And shout out, Hazy Rome. Thank you for joining the chat. We're almost near the tail end of this, so we're just answering some questions. If you got any questions, Hazy, feel free to send us one while we're on this. So we got one more question for tonight from Twitter. We got a question from Garrett, also known as 8-Bit Big.
Garrett of Rivia.
His question is, should Sega sell off their IPs? It seems like they only pimp out Sonic these days, and each game ruins its reputation even more. I don't know if they got much franchises. I'd like to see them make another Binary Domain game for sure. I would.
Yeah, I would love to see that too, but I think the sales weren't too hot for Binary Domain. And I would love them if they would. I would love them to sell off to Platinum the Binary Domain, and just essentially Platinum just footing the bill, and then the Yakuza team. They mostly do Yakuza games, and then they did Binary Domain, which was like so weird and so like okay, the Yakuza games. Yeah, guess what? We're gonna do a third-person sci-fi military shooter. And we're going to have an American as the main character. And it's going to be one of the best things you've ever seen in your life. And, but yeah, Sega, they're still going to keep milking that Sonic money because people still buy Sonic. So,
yeah. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, should they? I feel like Konami, where same thing with Konami. It's like, listen, they're kind of past their prime, and they're not really doing anything, and they're kind of hurting the industry by just staying tried and true to not even attempting to make any new games, new IPs, or really branch out. So, yeah, they should they? I would like it if they actually sold their IPs to somebody who would do something with them, but will they? Probably not.
Yeah, probably not until maybe they go down, or maybe get acquired by some other company as an affiliate. You know how Rockstar's got like 2K games, and then not Rockstar, wait,
2K games,
2K game, like Take-Two Interactives, something like that. There's like a whole bunch of like subsidiaries of all that. So that may be what will go down. We got 2 minutes left on the Mixlr thing, so let me just go ahead and end the live stream real quick. We'll still be recording just for like the download purposes, but we'll cut it out real quick, folks that are listening live, and then we'll go back real quick because we got one last question from Deep Boys on Twitter, and then we'll kind of wrap this up here just to get everything, all the plugs and everything out there.
You got it.
So we'll be back real quick. Okay, we're back. Quick as that. Quick as easy peasy. So we'll.
It's been 5 days.
Yes, it's been.
We've had some serious technical difficulties.
Yes. So yeah, the final question here. Yeah, feel free, Hazy, if you want to send us a question, we'll go ahead and answer that. For Deep Boys, he has a question for us on this one 3 minutes ago. Get that on that. After Arkham Knight, what do you see in store for the future of Batman games? That is a good one. I can't.
Arkham Galaxy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, where you float around with men going woohoo as you grab star bits, and I just want like Super Mario Galaxy, but someone mods it to where it's just the like it's like the cutesy aesthetic of like the star bits and like all the characters and all the music, and it's just Kevin Conroy and the Batman model from Arkham Knight in there, just like walking around with the Unreal 3 engine, just like, and instead of like doing the magical jumps, like he just like punches a Goomba in the face and like stomps on like a turtle shell. It's like, crime won't be able to be cute out here in space. So that's my thought.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. I don't know. I haven't really thought about it because Arkham Knight.
Where's Bowser?
Arkham Knight hasn't come out yet, so I'm not sure. Like, I know that's gonna be like Rocksteady's last Batman game, and who knows what WB Games will do with it after that's done. It'd be interesting to see. Maybe mix it up a bit different. Maybe make like a crime, maybe detective game of maybe you can play maybe as Jim Gordon or maybe someone under the GCPD. Maybe they do some cases, and then maybe every now and then you'll come across like Batman villains, and then you do what you can as like a local like detective until like Batman comes in. You'll see him every now and then make appearances, but you'll solve the case and things like that. So maybe make it like a LA Noire but in Gotham City. I don't know.
Yeah. I would like that, and as Jim Gordon in that game, you have to play a game that's essentially the reverse of Slender. When Batman comes down, like, you have to keep looking at him, or else he will disappear, and that'll be very, very rude. Because
Right.
every damn time, it's just like, Commissioner, look at your paper reports. I'm sure his name is in there somewhere. Oh, yes, his name is Robert Shin. Okay, you're gone. You're already gone. You have to focus in to make sure that like he'll try to distract you. Like, look over there, it's the Joker. Where? Oh, you're gone.
Exactly. That'd probably be a game a mini game in its own right. Stare down Batman and don't look away, or else you miss some vital information.
But a vital clue, like the fact that Bruce Wayne and Batman appeared at the same exact time.
Right. So that would be my suggestion for that, for the future Batman games. Yeah,
I almost think they shouldn't. I think they should maybe
we both
go.
know it ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, they're gonna milk that for all it's worth. They did Arkham Origins with a careless smile and a whimper. So maybe like bring in more superheroes, bring in the Justice League, or try to do like go outside of just the gothic, like try to make it maybe more of an adventure game. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the Batman in its own right, and in the cast of villains, you can kind of work a game around it in a certain way, maybe have a different kind of gameplay depending on who you're going to be focusing on, for sure. Maybe like a puzzle game with the Riddler. Yeah, there's a lot of possibilities, really, that can arise from that. With the Rogues Gallery, you can go all out with the horror stuff, maybe like a horror disturbing kind of genre with like the Joker and stuff. Yeah, a lot of possibilities for sure. So if you guys have any suggestions on what you like to see for future games, definitely let us know. Yeah, on that note, we got this last question here from Hazy Rome.
Hazy Rome.
If you could play one gaming series or franchise the rest of your life, what would it be? Oh man. I would say Splinter Cell, because I always bring that up a lot. But it'll be easy. We'll say something else, because I know people are like, we already know the answer to this, but we're gonna go. Yeah, that is a really good one. As much as how things panned out in the finale of Mass Effect, I would probably revisit Mass Effect for sure. I mean, all the games for sure are all gems. They all have a rich universe, and I wouldn't mind playing them for the rest of my life.
Excellent choices. I do love the political espionage angle of Splinter Cell. I love that universe. I love the Mass Effect series. You know
what? I'll restate it. Hitman series. Yes.
Are you sure you want to live in that series? The world is just like filled with. Not only are there absolutely there are psychopaths who are just nuts and weird, but they're usually the ones in charge. Are you sure you want to live there?
I think I'll be all right.
Okay.
I'll be all right.
You've got brass cojones, my friend, because I will not live there. In fact, I think I might go the opposite. As a series, I would probably say the Mario Brothers, because it's fun, colorful, and they're in every single type of video game genre out there. The only thing that they're missing is a first-person Mario shooter, and I'm pretty sure they're working on that with Splatoon.
That is insane. I can't imagine playing Mario in first person. That'd be insane. That'd blow my mind.
It's just like, well, I mean, just like think of the one video game franchise. Did he say series or franchise or?
Gaming series or franchise. So that could be.
Oh yeah.
Interpreted.
That.
You know what? Now that I think about it, it'd really blow my mind if that would happen. Like Mario in first person, it'd be like a Mirror's Edge, Mirror's Edge kind of game with Mario. You're just jumping on Goombas and you see Mario's little legs, and climbing up something and reach it on a ledge and doing all that parkouring. He's pretty much like the original parkour.
He is the hardcore parkour and when he gets that feather, boy, the dude takes off.
So that would be interesting, yeah.
And it's just such a bright and colorful series, and it's just so engaging. I love the music, the presentation, everything from like Super Mario 64, Galaxy. I don't know if the Smash Brothers series counts, but just having all those, like even you can do anything in there. Also like horror, for instance, like Luigi's Mansion, where it's their version of horror, and sometimes it's actually some pretty creepy stuff too. But it's it's so diverse and so widely ranged that I could live off of just playing that series alone.
Yeah, I feel you. Well, thanks for the question there, folks. Everybody who contributed, thank you very much for the questions, and everybody else who's took the time out to listen live. We really appreciate it. Got the word out there. A few days few days ahead. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Gotta give you guys the props for listening live, and anyone who, you know, if you didn't have time to listen live, that's cool. That's why we got the downloads and the archives available on the bgb.com when this goes up. So
Yes.
many different ways to listen. Always fun and cool if you can make it live. You know, you're always, you know, welcome to interact with us and send us questions just like what happened today and tonight. So other than
I got something for everybody. Since nobody actually answered my question from last episode or attempted to send in Twitter questions, I'm just going to ask something right now. So for those of you listening, go on into the chat room and whoever answers this question gets a free Bloody Thumbs t-shirt. And you can just send me your size and your address and I will send it off. So here's a quick question for all of you. And whoever answers first and correctly will get the shirt. In what year was Metal Gear Solid 2: Sons of Liberty released? The first adaptation, not the revamped version for Xbox or the HD version. What year did Metal Gear Solid: The Sons of Liberty come out? Oh, we have a winner, and that is Hazy Rome with 2001. And looks like you're going to be winning yourself a shirt, my friend. And you can wear it to all of your fine dining, and they'll probably ask you to put on a tie. But you know what? They don't have any taste.
There you go. I was thinking Babe Red would get that one because he's the Metal Gear Solid fan. Mm-hmm. But you know, there's always many other opportunities to get some shirts. You know, you can buy it. That'd be recommended.
Absolutely. So Hazy Rome says 2001 Baller Hype City, and that's right. And guess who's going to be the mayor of Hype City? You, Hazy Rome. So just talk to me after the show. Try to send me a message on Twitter, or try to get in contact with me, and I will send you off your shirt. Just give me your info, and I will get you your shirt.
Yeah, he should be on Twitter. So you may want to follow each other.
Yes.
So you can DM the goods, the deets, as the young kids say.
The deets. And I'm at ch_Gorog for those of you listening on Twitter. And tune in. Who knows what could happen at any episode. So just remember that these contests could happen at any moment. So just listen up, and you too could be a winner.
Absolutely. So hopefully you'll enjoy that shirt. It's a really nice shirt. I don't know what color you're going to get there, Hazy Rome.
I ordered one.
I'm more of a purple one. I like the purple. It goes good with the design, but you know, there's black, red, yellow, with all your heart's desire. We can go with that design. Really good design.
There's a lot of good primary colors for the logo, which makes the purple background actually stick out really, really well.
Yeah, absolutely. You can go with white, red, blue, purple, all that good stuff.
To your heart's desire, and you can actually tell me, Hazy Rome, if you what color you want that in. So I will get on that.
Yeah, and you know, maybe you'll wear it to the next BGB podcast you do. You know, you represent, keeping it a $150, as you say. It'd be good.
I got you, man. Much love to you too. And that's all I've got for tonight.
Absolutely. So, thank you very much, everybody who listened live and is listened to us now. If you downloaded the episode through iTunes or listening through thebgb.com, thank you again. Much love. Glad we got to get together on this. I'm trying to remember when the last we did do a podcast this month, so this makes two podcasts in our quota that we're going here. So we're on the right track.
We tried to do the bi-monthly thing. It's like, listen, it didn't, like, usually our definition of bi-monthly is twice a month, but we always turned out to be like 2 months a year. But we will definitely try to make sure that the bi-monthly is now twice a month.
Yeah, so I mean, there's going to be some new things going on. We particularly haven't discussed them yet, but we're going to be, you know, sending each other some ideas on what we're going to be doing for the future. You know, putting out as much content as we can with the Bloody Thumbs brand, and you know, getting the Instagram going again. Many other plans in the works. So you know, this is going to be a good year for us, and we're going to get things going again. And you know, as always, You can listen to us on iTunes by searching Blood Thumbs Podcast. You'll usually find it right away. Or Google. I mean, Google's your best friend. You pretty much can see the suggestion come up. Once you type in Bloody Thumbs Podcast or just Bloody Thumbs, you'll see the suggestion from Google. Say, hey, we know this podcast.
It ain't blistered thumbs, it's bloody thumbs.
Exactly. So that is the way to find us. That's the best way to do it. If you're a Google fan, maybe Yahoo, maybe Bing.
Yahoo!
Ask Jeeves. I don't know what happened to Jeeves, but it's not Ask now. I don't know what happened to Jeeves.
Jeeves lost his job because people started to realize, oh yeah, we don't need a butler. We have a search engine now for the internet.
I remember asking him a lot of questions. Most of them I didn't get an answer to. But hey, it was nice to have a butler search engine. That's all I could ask for in life. But that's neither here nor there. But thank you again, folks, for listening. This is episode 160. Can you believe it? 160 episodes over the span of 5 years. So
good times.
Good times, and we appreciate all the love, support for us and for the BGB. Thank you for having us on the site, putting up as much content as we can, and much more to come soon. With your Let's Plays and possibly many other things in the works. It's going to be a good year for us and for everybody else who likes listening to us and hearing what we got to say about all sorts of entertainment things, all the goodies, all the goodness. So yeah, we can follow us on Twitter, as CH mentioned, CH_Gorog, and myself on Twitter at Splinter47, and also on Instagram at Splinter47. Any other links to various other media outlets will be in the show notes, so you can always follow those. And other than that, if you don't have anything else to say, CH, we'll bid everybody adieu and you have a wonderful night.
I'm good. I'll bid everybody adieu, and looking forward to the next episode of Bloody Thumbs, and have a good night, everybody.
Take it easy.
Thank you for listening to episode 160 of Bloody Thumbs Podcast. After a long session of podcasting, I must say, Master Wayne should do some podcasts to keep up appearances with the people of Gotham so they don't wonder, where the bloody hell is Master Wayne? How does his company still make money? All that rubbish. After much talk of Splinter's agony and suffering with Bloodborne and CH with getting back into the Let's Play game, and answering listener questions, this has been quite the show they put together for you all. Like the ending of every James Bond movie, Bloody Thumbs Podcast will return, mark my word. Or I'll smack them on the head and force them to podcast. Where the hell is Master Wayne? He should be back by now. He missed listening to this whole bloody podcast.